Oh, we are
And
live.
hello, we are live. This is Lady Lou, the baby boomer babe. And today we have two wonderful, wonderful guests that are on my new custom interviews with Lady Lou. And they are Miss Ilene Dillon and Miss Ricki McKenna. These two ladies are super, super good people. They're my friends, and we love them. And they have been part of a new book. It's called The Wellness Universe Complete Guide to Self Care, and it's 25 Tools to Happiness. And they've both got chapters in this book. Welcome, ladies. How are you today?
Thank you, Lou.
Excited, happy.
Great. Very happy. Yes.
We are all very excited because this book is fantastic. The chapters that there are 25 chapters, am I right? And each of
Yes.
them is a different tool by a different author on happiness. So, do you guys have two titles for each of your chapter? If so,
Mhm.
Yes.
what's your
Mine
Eileen?
mine is called the Dalai Lama's Smile.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mine is my happiness room. Why everybody always lands in the kitchen.
I love that because we, as some of you may know, Ricki is a chef. She's a foodie, and she is a certified nutrition and all that good stuff. So food is her baby. And Miss
Mhm.
Eileen is an MSW, Master Social Worker, and therapist, and other authors. She's authored her own books, and now she's an international and national bestseller in the first book that the Wellness Universe put out. You want to show us that book, Eileen?
Sure, it's right here, and my tool is living from the inside out, which is a very
Mm.
basic thing. That instead of when something comes up in your life, instead of focusing outward or trying to get somebody else to change, you focus on yourself and change yourself, and everything in your life then changes. And that is my tool in this book. And I must say, I've read most of this book, which means I've read the other authors. These are authors from the Wellness Universe, which is a group of close to, I think, Ricki, 6,000.
Something like
Uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
All over the
6,000
world. It's
people
international.
all over the world who
Hmm.
help people with wellness. So we have
Yes.
articles on iridology, what your eye can tell you. We have meditation exercises. We have
Hmm.
it's such a variety. Whoever you are and whatever works, thanks, Deborah,
Thanks, Deb.
whatever works for you. We've got an author in this book, and what we were
Yeah.
told to do was to come up with a story about our own life and then connect it with a tool that we could share with other
Right.
people. And that's what the whole series is about.
Oh,
And it is a series. We're not sure what the third book is going to be, but the second one is the one that we're talking about today about happiness.
the happiness. Wow. Now they can find these books on Amazon. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes, the Wellness Universe Guide
There,
is the way to find it. Yes.
Wellness Universe Guide on Amazon. And
Mhm.
they're getting ready for another big launch for this newest book. So we're going to talk a minute about the different things that each of the ladies have talked about. So, Eileen, would you like to lead off and talk about your tool that's in this happiness book?
Right. The subtitle of my chapter is The Power of Focusing Your Energy and Attention.
Mhm.
Clearly, I work a lot with energy, attention, where you're paying attention. And that's because there are principles that where you pay attention, you tend to send energy, and that area of your life increases. And my chapter is I draw from the Dalai Lama, because in reality, as you know, both of you know, my early childhood was not pleasant, and happiness was not something that I focused on. I often say I was at -0 for happiness.
Oh,
And so it's so delightful to be able to write about happiness and realize that I've been able to move there. But over the years, the Dalai Lama gave me a lot of inspiration, because what happened with the Dalai Lama is he was both the head of government and the head of the religion in Tibet, and China took over Tibet, and he lost his job in the government. He was displaced. He's lived his entire life. He's a little bit older than me. I think he's close to 80 or a little bit over.
Yeah.
And he's lived his entire life in India, not on his home territory. And yet, every time you see a picture of the Dalai Lama or you see him, he's smiling,
Smiling.
right? And so he says actually that smiling is his profession,
Oh,
right? And so he makes a point whenever he sees somebody, he smiles. And when you smile, you bring up endorphins and serotonin and all kinds of things that actually calm you down and make you feel better. And so when he says that smiling is his profession, what he's really doing is focusing his attention on being happy and sharing happiness. And that's the way he gets himself to happiness. And so when I started reading about him, I was at the point of, oh my gosh, he says things like what does he do? So the Dalai Lama just says that you need to smile and everything, and I wanted to know what he had to smile about. And he talked about his life and so forth, and I thought, he says, for example, only the development of compassion and understanding for others can bring us the tranquility and happiness we all seek. Well, when I read that, I thought to myself, he must have had a different kind of childhood than I did. I have drawing all that stuff, I'm too busy being miserable and being a victim, right? And so, but in considering it, I realized that I had to give compassion and love to myself, living from the inside out, and then I could attract that. And now here I am at age 78, and I do consider myself happy. And recently I was out someplace and somebody said, what's your day like? I said, every day is fantastic. There's no point in it being any other way. And I realized that's really true.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I give the steps to focusing your attention and why it's important, and some principles that go along with that. That's essentially what my chapter's about.
Oh, that's beautiful. And just as a little side note, and I've forgotten what the numbers are, but it takes fewer muscles to smile than it does to frown.
Yes.
So think about that for a minute, and make happiness your profession. Why not? Everybody needs a smile, and I say that because everybody does need a smile. And usually I don't say some people, but everybody can use a smile.
Well, the Dalai Lama points out that whenever he smiles, people smile back. So he's actually spreading happiness just by focusing his attention on smiling.
And we can all do that just as a habit, a daily habit. And that's a good habit. So knowing that you weren't always happy, especially in your childhood, what are some of the things that you have done in your adult life that have brought you extreme happiness?
Well, gosh, where to start? That's a really good question, Lou. Where to start? Well, I had a number of challenges. As you know, I'm a recovered angry person. I was a single parent for many years, all of which without financial support. So I was the support of my family. I've had 2 divorces. It's not like my life got easy and I was immediately happy. But I kept, for me, it was a focus on emotions that pulled me through. Being so angry and being a single parent, seeing the anger spill over onto my children really pushed me to figure out what anger was all about and how to work with it and how to take it off the table as the primary feature of my life. And doing that has made a huge change. Not only did I learn how to do anger, but I figured out a whole system, because there was no system back then when I started. And there still isn't an agreed upon one. But I figured out a whole system about how emotions work. So, what's enabled me really to be happy is that I have become loving of myself, and I focus my attention on the things that make me feel good, right? Which is what happiness is about. It's an internal feeling. It's not this, oh my gosh, I'm so happy all the time. It's not the over the top stuff as much as it is that deep, calm enjoyment, appreciation. You walk outside and you see an owl and you go, oh, it's an owl. Or you see Ricki making a beautiful meal and you go, oh, I'm so glad I was able to be here. That's what real happiness is about.
Oh, it really is, because part of that in my book too, and I'm sure in yours, is gratitude. Just be
Yes.
grateful for every little thing as well as the big things.
Yes.
It comes back to us. Amazing.
Yes.
Gratitude is big.
And it accumulates over time. These
Mhm.
patterns that I'm talking about, they build over time. Anything we do regularly builds over time. So as long as we're all here and we're building over time, why not build happiness?
Amen. Oh, that is so perfect. So, Ricki, let's switch just for a minute to you. You are the queen of cooking in my book. Your foods are good, wonderful, and you have your cooking show on Zoom, and you have your Patreon page where people can become one of your patrons.
Yep.
But tell me, why did you want to write about happiness?
I think because I'm basically a happy person. I had a fairly good childhood, Ilene. It wasn't what I would call idyllic. I did feel there was a little physical punishment among other things, as well as I think we all go through that, especially our generation, since I'm in my 70s as well. But, I'm basically a happy person. I'm one of those people who walks outside and says, "Oh my gosh, there's an owl in the clouds." There's pictures in the clouds, and I think I got that partially from my mom, who even in her 80s and 90s, we'd go someplace and she'd look and say, "Look, there's a wing, an angel up there." I don't know what she was seeing at that point, but it did kind of look like clouds were an angel, and it's a feeling that comes from within, Ilene. It's just a matter of gratitude. And as my sweetheart says, I'm up, I'm vertical, and it's another day. Um, and here's part of it. I'm not only vertical, all my senses are working well. I am walking well. I have command over all my fingers, toes, and everything else. And the other part of it was I love to eat, and it dawned on me after spending years in the kitchen, and when I was in Colorado, I created organic soups that I sold at farmers markets, and I had a good time doing that, even though it was a heck of a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun, and I enjoy relating to people. And how do we relate to people? Everybody has to eat. No, we do. We all have to have food at some point. And so it just makes me happy to be able to share with others. So, and I realized about a year ago, I mean, in the beginning of the proverbial lock-in, that if I'm going to be locked in, I better be in the kitchen. It's a place I love. And I care for people. So that's where I can make things and share what I make, share a part of me, my creations.
You're right. And I know each of you have some gifts to give people for reading this new book. So I know you have written your own book, Ricki, that you're going to be giving as one of the prizes. What's the name of that book?
Well, just you wouldn't believe this. Yes, you can eat well and eat right. And it's a simple guide to organics and stretching your food dollars. And it's a compilation of 19 different foods that not only I, but EWG, the Environmental Works Group, recommends to eat organic. And it's got recipes, and I speak to each food as far as why it's good for you and something is called superfoods and why they're superfoods. And I cover a bunch of different things. And it's really dedicated to my children and my grandchildren who are amazing. I mean, they're so much smarter than I, and it's incredible, even the little ones. And how appreciative, it's interesting, they are of food. Both of my children, my son and my daughter, are both excellent chefs, not just cooks, they're chefs. And the kids have grown up, the grandkids have grown up appreciating food, and they participate in it. And it's a happy thing to share a meal with people. So that's part of my impetus for writing the book, because I want people to understand. A lot of people are afraid to try different foods, and they're afraid to, experiment with foods. Play in the kitchen. What's it for? I give you full permission to play with your food.
Oh, see there? And I love to make up recipes. I've never been one to read a recipe word by word or, ingredient by ingredient. I make up stuff, and I love that part, because who's to say what the ingredients need to be? If it tastes good to you, it's perfect.
Exactly. That's what I call intuitive cooking. And my show on Zoom is called Pan-tuitive Cooking. And so we use recipes and everybody, but in each recipe, what I recommend to people is, if you want more of this, put that in. If exactly as you're saying, Lou, if you want to add more garlic and you want to add less turmeric or whatever it is, do it that way and see what happens. It's your individual dish, and you're sharing that with your love. And that's, it's the Jewish mother thing. Eat, sweetie. It's for you. It's good. That's part of it.
Yeah, there's just something about the odors from a kitchen when somebody's cooking. It's just so super. And one of the things that I love to do, especially around Christmas, is just put a little pan of boiling water on the stove, and then boil it, and throw in some cinnamon sticks.
Yes.
Oh my God, the house smells so good. So just make up stuff like that too, to make your house smell good.
Oh yeah. It's a lot better than plug-ins or any of those thingies.
Oh, there's
any of the fake smells.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't like those.
With some of my nutrition clients, I've found that those and candles, scented candles, because of the fake smells, when they got rid of those, their life changed, because it was actually detrimental to their health. And it's not.
I can believe it.
Why not put some cinnamon on? It's absolutely wonderful. And when you're baking something, the aromas that come from the oven that attract you. Everybody can relate to the cinnamon, I'll bet. And anything to do with Christmas smells or Thanksgiving, because smelling, your nose, your sense of smell is the strongest of all your senses. And so we'll remember things as a kid.
Yes.
I bet there's something, Ilene, you could remember as a child, that either turned you on or turned you off.
Oh, I grew up on my grandparents' farm and lived for a year when I was 5 with my grandparents all by myself. And my grandmother, this was in South Georgia, and my grandmother made fried chicken and fresh biscuits. And when I was at that age, she was still cooking on a wood stove. They didn't have electricity until the mid 1950s. So she would, and yeast breads, and she would make her own butter. I mean, that year of my childhood was full of smells. And I was thinking, as you were talking, usually I'm, as you know, traveling around in my RV in the US and Canada. And when COVID hit about a year ago, my son, who lives in Northern California, said, "Mom, come on in and stay with us, because this is going to be a time I want you to be safe." And he lured me by saying that I could be in charge of the vegetable garden for the family.
Oh,
and so, I mean, that's one thing you can't do in an RV very well, is grow a vegetable garden. And I was itching, because I usually have one every year. So I've been here, and even during the winter, we've been growing greens. And this week, my daughter-in-law said, "Well, I'd like to have greens with this meal." And I went out and I picked 7 different kinds of greens and cleaned them and chopped them. And she cooked some onions, and as I finished one handful getting it chopped up, she'd mix it in. So it slowly built this pan of greens. I'm telling you, there was nothing left when the family hit it. It was so wonderful. And to have that mixture of mustard and kale and collards and, all the different greens. It was, hey, John.
You know what's interesting about that, Ilene? Anything that you can grow freshly, whether it's just parsley or basil is wonderful because it grows like a weed, or mint, which grows like a weed. Yes. Anything that you use that's fresh makes such a difference in the food. For example, this year I grew some sage outside, and putting the fresh sage, I crumbled it and put it into stuffing with a sausage inside of a acorn squash. And it just made such an aromatic first, because you smell things and you see things first, but then the taste it was just amazingly delicious. So yeah, I would love to encourage people to grow their own greens, any kind.
Anytime. And I just let everyone know that we are live. And if you'd like to comment either on Facebook or YouTube or even LinkedIn, you're welcome to say hello to us. Thank you, John, and the other lady who said hello. We love to have your comments and your hellos, and just feel free to pop in at any time. Marion will put them up on the screen for us. So thank you very much. John Ward, our dear friends too.
Great. So can I talk about the launch of this next book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you can see we've talked about the fact that the cover is different from the one that we have that already. It's gold down the middle, and that's the happiness book. And there are going to be other books in the series. And the launch date is February 11th. And you can help us to once again, you who are watching, to once again reach bestseller status on the national and international level. And here's what we would need from you. We'd need you to read some of the book, and then on the 11th, go and buy an e-copy on Amazon. Go on Amazon and buy an ebook, which will be $1.99. And then leave us lots of stars and a review. And that's what we need. Now, you can do it afterwards, too, but the powerful time is February 11th, and the book should be up by then. And then I have some, for the first 3 people who email me at Ilene at emotionalmasteryforlife.com, I have 3 gifts also. And they are 2 copies of the ebook, so one for 2 different people. And then I also, as the grand prize, will give a signed copy of the new book, the paperback version of the new book. All you have to do is tell me your name, and I'll write to you right in the book.
Well, that would be fantastic to have a signed copy. And all they do is send you an email. It's Ilene at emotionalmastery.com. And Ricki's doing the same. Mm-hmm. And Rick, tell us your email address, Ricki.
Wait, just one second. Emotionalmasteryforlife.com. Let me just,
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Ricki. Why don't you just
get that? Mine is fine. Yeah. Mine is Ricki at rickimckenna.com. And I'll be offering a copy of the ebook as well, and a copy of my ebook about eating well and eating right. And you can have your choice. I'll either do 2 copies of my book or 2 copies of the ebook on happiness, or maybe one of each, whoever wants. 3 copies all together. And really, I am so grateful to be able to let people know about this, because not just because I'm in it and Ilene's in it. The other 23 authors who contributed to the tools for stress relief and who are contributing to this book have contributed from their hearts. And
Yes.
this is the thing that really makes this wonderful. It's not, the eloquently written whatever book for intellectuals. This is a guide for real life, and most of it is quite eloquently written because it's from people's hearts.
Right.
When I talk about my foods and being in my kitchen, it took me 70 something years to realize that's my happy room. Hey guys, because where do they gather when you have a party?
That's
Where
right.
does everybody end up?
Right.
Because all the goodies come from there and all the wonderful aromas are emanating from the kitchen. And that's where they can get a nibble. I've had people when I've taken something out of the oven, can we have the scrapings from the bottom under the turkey? Of course they can, as long as I can get them too. But it's that kind of things. And to watch people smile and see them enjoy themselves, that's
Yeah.
the happy part for me.
It
And the only problem I have right now is in a show like this or on Zoom, there's no way to get it out to you guys. We have to figure out smell Zoom or something like that.
Well,
Well,
work on
one of the things that's really nice that the wellness universe, since I was in the first book,
Mhm.
and I just want to comment. Yes, the stories are incredible that people submit. They're real life from the heart stories, Ricki. I'm glad you brought that
Yep.
up. And it's not the same group in each book.
No.
For whatever reason, I managed to get in the second time. Woo-hoo, made me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it really they really do come from the heart, and they draw from their real life experience and give you tools that will help you pull yourself out if you have similar real life experiences. And I think that's super wonderful. You and I, Ricki, met through the wellness universe.
Yes.
We were in Arizona, and I met you at a dinner at the very end of the conference. We're going to have another conference in Boone, North Carolina in October. I'm
Right,
speaking
in
at
October.
that one.
So am I.
And oh yeah, okay, good. So one of the things is, if anybody wants to come to Boone, North Carolina, almost all of the authors of the book are going to be there, and you can get a fully signed copy. You can go around and collect.
All the names.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just go to the wellness universe, and it's a really rich place to meet
Beautiful.
people and collaborate. This is a year of collaboration, and
Mhm.
here we are collaborating. This has been just fantastic. So I want to put a plug in for the wellness universe. I think I've been a member at least 3.5 years, and that was the other thing I was going to say. The way that they're marketing this book on the Wellness Universe, each author reads her chapter or his chapter. So at some point, you also can go for a series of every author reading their own chapter. And it's a beautiful feature. And also, we all have been interviewed, and we've participated in a panel talking about various things. So it's a very rich environment, and the launch date is February 11th, and we'd like to see everybody there.
It's not only rich, it is supportive of creativity and the fact that most of us we're known as world changers.
Yes.
And I kind of like that because we're in the midst of huge change right now. And from what I've seen and the people I've spoken with, and this will be on Facebook, I believe, the live interviews and the readings on the chapters are on Facebook. We're making a difference in the world. And today, if there's nothing else that we can do on a venue like this, Louise, and thank you very much for having us on. We
Amen.
can help other people understand they're not alone.
Yes.
And there are people who care. And this is an important point, I believe. Reach out. use the phone, use the computer, use your whatever, reach out. And what I've noticed in walking around our neighborhood is people are waving, people are smiling. And you can see a smile above your mask.
Yes.
So your eyes smile.
Yes.
And that's part of why I'm so delighted to be on here and be able to share this about happiness. And we do make our own happiness. We have to reach inside and be grateful for the fact that we are alive and we're able to do this. And this is such a thank you again, Lou. I mean, what you and Marion do. Marion's in the background. Our Ricki.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
And who does a beautiful job.
Well, we appreciate that. And Ilene, do you have some last words?
Yeah, I was thinking about sharing. I've been a psychotherapist for half a century, and one of the things that happens when people make change is before they make their change, they fall apart. And I think and it's necessary. You have to have the old patterns fall apart before you can bring something new in. And all of us have found the year 2020, most of us have found it very, very difficult. And a major reason that, thank you, Mike, a major reason that that past year happened was so that things could fall apart for us. So if you had a really bad year, if everything seemed to fall apart, if you have been discouraged, rest assured that that was exactly what was supposed to happen in 2020. And in 2021, if you let yourself go ahead and fall apart, then you get to a place where, yeah, you can, but you'll go through a little quiet place first where you can't really make decisions and whatever. But then you begin to think, well, I might like to do this. Well, I might like to do that. And what you're doing is you're rebuilding your life from the inside, right? So that it's the life that you want.
Yes.
And the life that you want is the one that makes you happy. Right?
Yep.
And so that's our job. We can do it with other people this year, even if we have to do it over Zoom, right? Or StreamYard.
Yep.
But my final word is congratulations. We made it through 2020. Congratulations if everything fell apart and you've been miserable. And now congratulations for this year, where you are ready to start reconstructing your life. And all of us have the opportunity to be more loving, more compassionate, and a whole lot happier.
You bet.
And feed yourself good food.
That's right.
There you go.
Thank you for being here, both of you. This is a wonderful book. We're looking forward to it. And all the information of their contact information, the emails, are in the description down below the video. So we thank you again, ladies, for being here. We're looking forward to your book. And we thank all of our audience for their comments and sharing too. So
thank you, Marion and Lou. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Blessings.
We love you.